All right, welcome to your little routine to help you get better at your headstands and tripod headstands for the week. All right, we're going to start with wrist circles. All right, this is to increase your range of motion. Notice making sure that your wrist is facing down, slightly clenching your wrist. All right, and we're going to do about 15 to 20 circles in each direction. And do generally kind of start with one wrist. And as you see me here, holding onto my wrist gently to go ahead and keep the palm facing down. All right, once you're able to do that, make sure then you can go ahead and do both wrists at the same time if you want, or just do one wrist at a time. All right, about 15 to 20 circles in each direction, trying to find every little nook and cranny as you go along. All right, next one we're going to do backward facing wrist stretch. All right, this is where you're placing your fingers facing your knees, making sure the heel of your hands are pressing down into the ground, spreading your fingers kind of wide. All right. Start with your fingers closer to your knees. This is easier than further away. All right. As you get better with this, you can start to move your hands further and further away from your knees, and that'll allow you to get a little bit more of an opening. All right. After that, go ahead and do forward facing wrists. All right. We want to pulse about 5 times. And about 5 to 10 second hold after that. All right, here as you see me kind of leaning further and further forward as I do this, keeping my elbow pits forward the whole time. All right, again, just kind of getting more range of motion into the wrists. After this, go up to heel up, side to side stretch. All right, so basically you're going to pull the heel of your hand up off the ground, and you're going to rotate across the knuckles, the first knuckles, all right, from your pinky over to your pointer finger, and just kind of moving side to side, doing about 15 seconds. You want to feel yourself kind of pushing into each knuckle. All right, after that, a couple wrist shakes for about 10 to 15 seconds, just really letting the wrists relax and just shake the fingers, letting everything kind of ring out a little bit. All right. After that, we're going to do a little strengthening here. We're going to start with palm pulses. All right. So pulsing in and out of this position about 10 to 30 times, making sure, again, you're not lifting, but you're pressing through, almost like you're lifting your arms up off the ground. All right. Lifting through your first knuckle. All right. As you do this. So again, here, back of hand wrist extension. All right, you're going to start with your knuckles clenched, all right, keeping the elbow creases forward. And as you open your hands, you're literally trying to roll your hands out as your fingers extend, and then pull your fingers in to allow you roll back up onto your knuckles. All right, doing this about 2 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Yeah. And again, this might be quite intense, so moderate. The closer your hands are to your knees, the less intense. So again, modulate this for what you need for the day. All right. After that, we've got seal walks. All right, you're going to start with your palms on the ground with the fingers facing your knees, shoulders over your hands. Walk forward, crawling on your hands and knees as you see me doing right there in the beginning, and then trying to keep your chest up. As you get more confident, you can just let your legs drag behind you, doing about 2 sets of 10 to 12 reps per hand. Elbow rotations, and we're going to start with the back of your hands. All right, elbow rotations. Make sure your hands are pressing into the ground and you're rotating your elbow pits forward and back. This motion is mainly coming from your shoulders, so just kind of getting a good feel for that rotation forward and back. Notice my hands are not moving. All right, then we go into elbow circles. So doing that same motion, draw your elbow creases forward, draw your elbows back, wing them out to the side, and then straighten your arms. All right, doing that a few times here. And then after you've done that round or that range of motion or that direction, go ahead and switch the direction to the other way. So draw your elbows out to the side, then circle them back and around to the back. All right, we're going to have to do a few elbow circles here, and we'll work our way into some shoulder circles. All right, shoulder circles, elbow creases are forward. Elbow creases are forward. You're going to let your shoulder blades come together across your back. Good. Shrug your shoulders up towards your ears. Press the ground. Are you really feeling your shoulder blades protract? Then unshrug down towards your back pocket. Keep drawing that shoulder circle. Again, some of those shoulder circles maybe feel like, kind of squares. All right, that's okay. Just kind of draw them in the best shoulder circles you can. After you do about a few rounds forward, then go ahead and reverse the direction. And again, finding each and every motion, keeping your elbows straight during these elbow circles. This has also helped us learn how to articulate our shoulders in a very natural way. And after that, we have our chair stretch. All right, so finding a chair about shoulders width height, making sure your knees kind of like sitting your hips back, reaching your arms forward, and rotating your elbow pits upward as we extend through our upper back. So it's not so much of a chest opener, right? We're not feeling this so much in our shoulders. You might feel this in your lats. You might feel this in your upper back area, kind of between your shoulder blades, down towards the bottom of your shoulder blades. So nice thoracic opener here. You might feel this also in your rib cage as well. So pulse here for about 5 times and then hold. All right, we've got our A-frame shoulder shrugs. All right, so go ahead and start in your all fours position. Right, then lift yourself up into an A-frame. All right, and what we're going to do here is, again, keeping the elbow creases forward best you can. You're going to shrug your shoulders up towards your ears, hold there, and then unshrug, sliding them down your back. Kind of just pressing and shrugging, unshrugging the whole time. All right. And here's a view from the front, so you can kind of see the same exact thing. Seeing the shoulders kind of moving, how the shoulders are shrugging up and down, coming down the back. So we're basically kind of learning and building strength there. All right, from here we're going to go ahead and stand up, and we're going to do some standing straight leg hip circles. All right, remember you're drawing this circle from your hips. I'm going to start with my hips going forward and back, and then side to side. And then we'll go ahead and put all those 4 motions together. Hips forward, hips over to your right side, drawing your hips back toward the right corner of the room, drawing them towards the center, over to the left corner of the room, and then drawing them forward all the way back to the starting point. All right, doing about 3 or 4 rotations to each side. And again, mindfully drawing those circles, keeping your hands on your hips as you're doing this, so you can feel those the hip muscles and everything working together to get those motions going. Go ahead and reverse the direction if you haven't done so already. All right, and draw about 3 or 4 in the other direction. Good. Sitting on the ground, we've got our seated leg squeeze. All right, 10 to 12 pulses, then switch legs. So remember, you're hugging one leg into your chest, right? Keeping your sit bones on the ground as you do this, and rising and just kind of pulsing your straight leg out in front of you, keeping your toes pointed and your knee locked as you're doing this. This gives you a good feel for how you're going to be when you try to straighten your legs up in the air for any inverted positions. All right, got our general kneeling lunge here, just opening up our hip flexors a little bit. We get about 5 pulses forward, keeping our tailbone tucked underneath us, feeling like you're lengthening through the front of your thigh. All right, pulsing, and then hold for about 5 seconds. Repeat for the other side. And then we get into our A-frame to squat. So remember, starting off in your all fours position, hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Lift your hips up as high to the sky as you can. And start walking your feet towards your hands, lowering your hips down into a squat. Notice how my chest is up as I'm lowering my hips down. Right, my heels are on the ground. After that, lower your hands back down. Walk your feet back into your A-frame. And we're going to repeat about 3 to 4 times, each squat getting a little bit lower, a little deeper, as your body allows you to do so. Making sure that your heels stay on the ground, and you don't have to go as low as I'm here, right? Maybe you go a little lower, right? Or maybe a little higher, you know? So again, listen to your body, go into the squat that works for you. This is a nice way to open up your hamstrings as well as you walk your feet back and forth. Also build up a little extra shoulder strength as you have to press the ground away to lift your hips up to walk them forward. Good. Now we're on to our practice portion. You want to spend about 5 to 10 minutes here. Now it doesn't mean spend 5 minutes trying to just do a handstand. All right. You want to spend about, spend a lot of 5 to 10 minutes of your practice session to allow you to work on these things. All right. So as you can see here, I'm practicing my headstand first. All right, and again, find the headstand that works best for you. That doesn't mean getting your feet up off the ground, doesn't mean jumping, right? It just means kind of finding and playing where you are. All right, remember, you want to make each time you go up into your headstand or tripod, you make it an attempt, right? What is an attempt? It's a clean attempt of a level of handstand or headstand that you're at. Take a short break between attempts so that when you're set up for another clean attempt, focus on one thing with each attempt. Don't put yourself into information overload where you're like up there and you're like, oh, man, I have to do this, and this. Focus on one thing at a time and make each attempt a separate one to learn what your body's doing. All right? And then when you rest between attempts, make it an active and mindful rest period. Think about how the previous attempt went and what you want to focus on in your next attempt. Thirdly, you want to let go of expectations. You're going to have great days where everything clicks, and you'll have some days or even weeks where you'll feel like you're not making progress at all, right? But you're making progress, right? Just by getting here and working on these skills. Progress isn't just linear, so try to let go of any expectations, as hard as that may be. Just show up. You'll get there. All right, as you see here, I'm working on the tripod, right? Make sure that your elbows, as you can see, are bent about 90 degrees, right? My head is not near my hands, right? It's in front of my fingers, right? What you're doing here is just practicing kind of lightening your feet. Maybe you don't get your feet up at all. Maybe your knees aren't going to get there. All right? So after you've spent about 5 to 10 minutes, right, go into your play. Right? For play, we're working on dolphin holds, right? This is one thing, right? Dolphin holds, basically coming down into an all fours. Place your elbows on the ground, rotate elbow pits forward, place your feet on the ground, lift your hips up. And it's basically an A-frame with your elbows on the ground. This is a wonderful kind of shoulder opener. And just holding here for about 5 or 10 seconds, really trying to lift your hips up as high as you can. Press, rotating your elbow pits forward. Take a break. Good. Maybe if that feels okay, you can go to what's called dolphin push-ups, right? Get back in the dolphins and notice you taking your chin forward, trying to tap the space between your thumbs, lowering, kind of taking yourself there. Now, if this is too challenging, right, you can do it with your knees on the ground. I'll be demonstrating those in a little bit, right? But basically, you're kind of reaching yourself forward, shoulders moving down away from your ears as you send your chin forward. Right, and right here I'm going to demonstrate another version, and this is a little bit easier. Keep your knees on the ground. Same idea, just kind of send your chin forward between your thumbs, and this is working on the shoulder strength, allowing your shoulders to get stronger to be able to support you. Okay, next thing we go into our push section. All right, you want to complete this section about 3 to 4 times. All right, and again 30 seconds about for each of these little things. So we do a band drill. Right, remember, take that band, put it underneath your feet. You want to extend your arms up. Pretend you're trying to squeeze your ears between your shoulder blades or between your shoulders as you're pressing up. Rib cage down, hips in line, everything lines up. Really press as hard as you can for about 30 seconds for this band drill, and then go ahead and take a break. Right, go ahead and release the band. All right, notice I'm coming from the front so you can see how my hands are basically kind of separating a little bit. All right, as I'm trying to pull that band apart as well. And hold, hold, hold. I'm holding here for a little longer than 30 seconds so you can see the side and the front view. All right, next we have our hollow body rocking. All right, basically you find something like this, and you're gonna rock, keeping your arms up by your ears. You're gonna go ahead and rock back, lift your feet up into the sky, and then roll yourself, lifting your chest up into the sky. All right, this is one version of a hollow body rock, right? Just kind of feeling your core working, feeling everything start to align. Toes are pointed as you're doing this as well. Some people will call this a candlestick, all right, in gymnastics. All right, and then we have our bear. This is wonderful for working on coordination, also single arm strength, and also we're getting upside down again, right? Practicing our inversions and shoulder strength, and also putting more pressure on our wrists. So what you do is you go ahead and step one hand forward, all right, and then equidistant our opposite foot, right? Keeping the legs straight, hips up into the sky as high as you can. I am working here with my socks on, so this floor is a little slippery, so I'm really having to engage my core, right? Which is actually, I found this to be really challenging, actually, when I did it. And then you can go a couple steps forward, and you can also work back. Working backwards is a little different, right? Because you have to press, press, press. After you repeat those things for about 4 rounds, 3 to 4 rounds, go ahead and do 1 round of 3-point bridge. 3-point bridge, you're going to go ahead and sit on the ground in a crab position. We'll take our right hand, fingertips facing away, right? Lift your hips up off the ground. Keep your eyes on your left thumb, right? And rise your hips up, reaching up, up, up. And then notice how I'm keeping my eyes on my left thumb as I repeat this. This is a beautiful way to kind of open your chest and start to actually work on that arching position, right? Building up the thoracic spine as well as the shoulders and a posterior chain, and get our glutes and hamstrings involved. Good. After you completed all of this, ponder, how did today's session go?